everyone. Welcome back to the 343 SparkCast. This is your special April edition. Last time we talked... Oh, no, it's March. It's almost April.
What is wrong with you?
I'm confused.
You have
No,
me
we're doing it live.
What?
We're doing it live. No edits. Unless we say something we're not supposed to, and then I'll edit it because I like my job. I don't want to lose it. This is the March episode, late March. Hopefully this comes out before April. If not, then I was telling the truth. Who knows?
Like a reverse shit April Fool.
It's the not spring in Seattle edition.
I think it's just April Fool, singular. Of course, you've heard a few voices. I'm going to introduce everyone, and then we'll kind of kick it off. To my left, and working my way around, is Frank O'Connor, Franchise Development Director at 343.
Hello, children.
And joining us once again is Josh Holmes, Creative Director here at 343.
Hello.
And the soft-spoken Josh Holmes. And last but not least, Kiki Wolfkill, Executive Producer on Halo 4 here at 343.
Frank has totally upped the ante on the hello.
That's true.
Hey, y'all.
People won't know that entire 20-minute saga of saying hello last time. And of course, I'm David Ellis. I'm designer here at 343. And, well, last time we talked was before we went down to San Francisco for a little thing called Spring Showcase to actually show off Halo 4 to members of the media for the first time. Where since then, everyone that's listening to this has seen the making of video that we released. If not, pause, go watch it, and come back.
It was a secret stealth mission to San Francisco.
Yeah. I mean, no one was really expecting it down there. I mean, we'd sort of hinted at it. Josh hinted very heavily that the next time.
And you gave us away on Twitter as well.
What?
Yeah, that's true.
Did you blur it out?
Checked into
I know,
Foursquare.
but then I didn't. I never reported back.
true. Abort.
But we were down there in San Francisco for Spring Showcase, showing off the game. Obviously, people have seen the video that we were showing off in video form. Obviously, Master Chief and Engine, showing off the new engine and showing off the graphics and all that stuff, and then showing off some multiplayer. Showed off 2 multiplayer maps. Some people might have been a little confused. One is called Wraparound and Warhouse, but about the names.
Well, those are placeholder names.
We didn't fully quite explain that.
Names.
No, we did. There's a big warning at the start of every video you watch that says there's a lot of placeholder material in there. Anyway, they're placeholder names.
I got to be honest.
Wow,
I didn't know they were placeholder
snippet.
names until we came back from Spring Showcase.
Really?
Yep.
Yeah, there was a conversation that went around with some of the designers saying, I guess these are the final names now. And we're like, no.
It's just
The code
what we
names
had.
have a way of sticking around,
Yeah.
so you have to be careful
That
with
is
the
true.
Xbox,
Yeah.
for example. So.
No, totally. So, obviously, this is the first time that everyone in this room, you guys were showing off the game. What was that like? Because these events are a little weird. Obviously, most people who listen to this have never been to them. We're at this really nice facility. I guess it was an old Federal Reserve building in San Francisco. Like it was a bank, like an old bank from like the 30s, but huge. And then we were in the upstairs space in this crazy like Donald Trump boardroom.
Yeah.
And we came in and everything, and the lighting was blue. The rooms were themed. They had different colors.
And to protect our security, it had a giant glass wall that anybody who showed up could have just looked through.
With a sign outside that said Halo 4.
Filming.
Don't
Yeah.
look through the glass.
Yeah.
And no filming, where everybody stood to take photographs and video. So.
Well, I haven't seen any online, so I guess they did all right.
Yeah.
Someone was looking out.
And I guess the cavity searches on the way out did their
I'm
job.
fast.
Yeah.
It was very blue, though. It was
Very
very
blue.
blue. Yeah. All of the lighting was blue. It was very dark.
We were next to the Forza room, and they were red. We were blue. I think Connect Star Wars was purple. I don't know how they came up with the color themes, but...
Well, ours had that. Remember the gross stain under the glass tabletop?
Yes.
And you're like, how did that get in there, and why did it
Which
get in there?
started a half hour of
yeah.
really perverse.
But it wasn't on our side, so we were
speculation.
okay.
It was on the press side.
I like
Yeah.
the professional audio setup where we basically erected a bunch of boxes. and covered them with
Of course, as always, when you show up to these things, stuff's inevitably not set up the way it's kind of supposed to. I know at one point, and the optical audio cable didn't stretch quite far enough so we had to get a box to like stack underneath the surround sound so it would reach. Yep. This isn't why you're tuning into this episode to hear our tales of woe and sorrow for AV setup for press demos, but I did hear one funny piece of feedback, and I might get a dirty look for this. Someone did find it ironic that Frank, Josh, and Kiki introduced a video at the beginning that featured Frank, Josh, and Kiki.
If somebody out there thinks that they can get enough of me, then that person is an idiot. Like, they should have been in triplicate. There should have been cutouts of me as well, standing on the back wall, staring at you while I talk.
We should have done the video in 3D, is what you're saying?
Yeah, exactly.
I will say by the end of 2 days of watching that video, we could pretty much like just lip sync all.
I think I saw some of you mouthing lines as it was playing.
I proved.
Yes, we tried.
Yeah, Josh left early on the last day.
Yeah,
and I was supposed to do his bit, his shtick. And you think that, I mean, I had it ingrained, so I had his phraseology in certain ways down pat, but then I just couldn't remember the content, and Kiki would fill it in for me every time I.
Actually, the first time I was impressed because Frank totally butchered the transition.
Yeah,
to be honest,
butchered.
That's
the word you're going to go with.
It was a gentle butchering.
Yeah.
Well, it went softly into that night.
You said drop.
Yeah. But Kiki handled it. I didn't notice it, and I'd been listening to the same demo
That's right.
That's because Kiki's a professional.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What does that say about you,
That
Frank?
means there's 3 professionals in this room, and then there's you.
I didn't butcher it.
Yeah.
But I wasn't
you didn't
saying
do anything either. You just stood there
I
judging
waved.
us.
I was standing in the back of the room. I was in charge of AV, so playing the videos, and so I was
The AV wasn't working. How about that?
It was working when I started using it.
Eventually. Yeah.
I did all right hitting play.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought you were pretty good.
I thought
You were
you butchered
handling the.
I was having to
Remote
stand on my
controls.
tippy toes and like hold my arm above my head and point down at the AV receiver, which is at floor level. But
This is a professional.
we've made it at 9 minutes in and haven't really
Yes.
talked about the game at all.
video
Agreed.
games.
We will never make a video that
Of us,
we
by us.
introduce.
Yeah.
Unless it features puppet
ourselves.
caricatures of you.
Ooh.
Because then it's entertaining.
There you
There's
go.
value.
I like
Fraggles
that.
of us.
Fraggles?
Fraggles of
Like
us.
Fraggle Rock
Yeah,
Fraggles?
exactly.
Weren't Fraggles Canadian?
Probably.
I feel like they were Canadian. I do remember the Fraggles,
Yeah.
but I always.
Fraggle
They
Rock.
must have been Newfies then, because they were all.
Here we are at 9.5
I
minutes.
know.
Still haven't
We're
actually
doing
talked
good.
about the
It's not even
game.
Friday.
It
But
should
there,
be.
there were special drinks though ahead of time.
Well, every day's Friday when it comes to
Yeah.
tequila.
But most people, no one would really know. But the build that we were actually showing both Wraparound and Warhouse on was from one of our internal network tests that we recently conducted, and
Not that recently.
it was recent. It was like 3 weeks. That's recent.
No, it's not more than a month old now.
No, it happened. It started right at Spring
Been about
Showcase.
3 weeks. Yeah.
Yeah. And so that was a chance for actually other people at Microsoft to actually play the game multiplayer on those 2 maps. A very basic subset of everything that's going to be the totality of the package when the game launches. But it was a lot of fun for me because there were a lot of people that didn't know what they were doing, a lot of engineers and people who don't play a lot of video games. It was an opportunity for me to kill them over and over again.
Yeah, that's it.
Next
you
week,
need
David, yeah.
engineers. to
I
help
didn't
you
say
do the job.
they were 343 engineers.
Oh, sure.
Everyone at our
having a problem
studio
with this code.
is ranked 50 in Slayer. I mean, everyone's pro level here.
Oh, yeah.
We got a building full of Walshies. Yeah.
Exactly. Because we can turn our level up to 50 in the back end with an engineer's help, I might add.
Yeah, that's not going to happen for you.
No, it's not.
Not for you.
I'm okay with that because that means, I'm fine with that. But did everyone? I know I was in GDC, so I actually missed half of the network test.
I missed half as well because I was at GDC as well.
Yeah, but I did get a chance to play the last weekend quite a bit. I know, Frank, you were playing it a lot. Were you killing a lot of engineers?
Yes, I was winning a lot, which is we always have these. Whenever we launch the game, we have a week of like superiority before everyone figures
The
everything
glory
else
week.
out.
Yeah.
You're like, I'm the king, I'm the king, I'm the king, and then seconds later, a 4-year-old like just starts smashing on you with the butt of a rifle.
One of the things that from the video, we showed the maps a little bit, but there seems to be a lot of confusion about how they kind of play and what the basic flow kind of is. A lot of people, when they saw Wraparound, immediately thought of Narrows. And I assume it was because of the Forerunner aesthetic.
Yeah,
but
and
I never, didn't really quite.
verticality for
And probably the man
bridges,
cannons because they did show that a bit.
But it's actually mostly circular. It's really nothing like Narrows. And even the verticality doesn't work the same way as Narrows because you use these crevasses to drop from one level to the other really rapidly rather than ramps.
Yeah.
Ramps are all at the sort of compass points. And there's these cracks in the floor that you drop through to deal with the verticality. And it does not.
Yeah,
like
There
Narrows.
are no safe spaces in Wraparound.
No.
That's one
I
of the
use the
things.
crevasses for running away.
Yeah, they're super useful for
It's
that.
Same here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the basic design of it, it's like, think of it as a big circle on the outside, and there's like a cross shape running across the middle, and you basically have 2 levels. And that's just the easiest way to...
It's like the O from a death metal map. Album cover, right? Yeah. You know how like on death metal album covers, the O's are always have that
The cross.
Yeah.
I'm just imagining Scottish death metal featuring
There
electronic
probably is Scottish
bagpipes.
death metal, I don't know.
It would be entertaining if
Maybe
it did.
Scottish death wind.
But whereas Narrows is sort of like in some ways like the elongation, it's just like a long strip with 3 sides. 2 of the sides being the man cannons. There are man cannons, but those are mostly for getting around the
They're kind of the
short
4 different
trajectory.
points that all fire into the center.
Exactly.
So
Which I
center is
started
just-
describing as like the murder hole.
Yeah, I was going to say,
It
it's the
is.
death zone where people
It's my
die.
personal hurt locker.
I remember one.
But the center line of sight is broken up by those kind of hexagonal pylons. They're actually battery packs, but
And they actually go down to the bottom level.
So you don't just go in there and just start literally spamming, because most of that would be absorbed by those objects.
And they're intentionally designed in such a way that it's not necessarily easy to throw grenades and bounce them around corners.
So
and
what
stuff
we
like
did
that.
have, though, we made a change in the way that we placed the spawns, because what we did have at one point, and I'm not sure if it was in that network test.
I think it was.
It was in that network
Yeah.
test. And one of the things that we had was we had the spawn points directly across from one another. And so both teams would start, and you just have this like rain of grenades where people would be like throwing grenades across the map, and people dying and respawning and killing. And so we've actually moved the spawns, and it makes a massive, massive difference.
Yeah, and we've done some other things that we can't kind of go into details on that have changed a lot. I mean, because we learned a lot, because, we play a ton internally at the internal play test and everything, but obviously it's great getting other people to get hands-on with it. And we're fortunate enough to be part of Microsoft, which has, a pool of 90,000 plus employees around the world who can, sort of participate. The pool for this particular one wasn't quite that large, but it was fun kind of getting on there and actually playing against people you didn't know, because they would do things that would surprise you. I mean, use things in the game in ways that you just weren't expecting. And that was like a lot of fun for me. And I know that some of our very talented and excellent engineers internally pulled some data
and pulled it back
Nice
from
save.
the edge there.
and put
Tell
together
them when
like
to tune in.
and they put together some infographics for stuff about like how many hours played, and that's all internal kind of stuff. But it was cool to see. Although I did have to call BS, and then I wasn't on the list of kill death ratio. For some reason, my name was left off the list.
Mine was actually positive, so that tells you how much of an advantage we had. But the other thing about having the Microsoft people in those network tests is they actually converse. Mm-hmm. So you just have these conversations going on about what is going on in the game as well, and you get analytical people, you get marketing people, you get testers, you get all.
Sometimes you get their
types of-
kids.
I was going to say, sometimes you get the little voices, and you're like, what are
You're
you
like,
doing
excuse
in
me,
here?
What do you do here?
nothing. I'm an engineer.
Was
I'm
fun.
just programming.
One of the other levels that obviously the other level that we were playing was Warhouse, and that was fun because one of the things we didn't necessarily show off too much in the making of videos is the fact that you are on this facility vessel that's actually traveling in near Earth orbit of this planet with like all kinds of crazy stuff, star fields and all kinds of asteroids. And it's interesting because it's the first time I think I can remember. I mean, there's Anchor 9, but which is set on a space station in orbit. It's the first time that I can remember playing it that you actually feel like you're sort of in space, which might sound weird.
It reminds me of Halo 2 with the gas mining facility. From Halo 2, the one that
Threshold.
And the feel is a little bit like that, and you can definitely still see space rather than just atmosphere above you, but it's pretty interesting.
I enjoyed it because a lot of people don't recognize it. Very similar in some ways, but not so much. There are sort of man cannons on the outside on Warhouse,
which had some issues during the network test.
There were some issues where if you happen to be
every other one, I would whiff and just like miss the jump.
I did one where I was coming up on someone from behind and was getting ready to kind of melee them as they were coming on, and I sort of there's a little bit of lunge sometimes in melee, and I lunged in, and the lunge somehow pushed him a little bit enough that he hit the man cannon and took off, and the lunge carried me like right into the man cannon and lifted me off, and about halfway through I just lost all momentum and fell to my death. I didn't mind it, but I did file a bug on it.